Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you for coming back. Today we're going to be talking about something maybe a little heavy. Trigger warning, there is going to be some sewer slide talk and also some mental health talk. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. We're going to be talking about borderline personality disorder. Woohoo! Let's talk about the stereotypes. Let's talk about what the symptoms are, and let's talk about how that looks or comes across. Personally, from somebody who has it and struggles with it and is managing, or at least trying to, every day. Let's get into it. I'm not even joking. I wish I was. I sat down to start filming. I had everything set up so perfectly. It took me probably like 20-30 minutes just to like set up where I wanted to be. Camera died. I'm going to be like completely honest. I have no clue where to start, where to end, what this is about. I just know that you guys have consistently asked me and encouraged me to make more content outside of Twitch, but I just fucking, for some reason, struggle to do that. And actually, I shouldn't say for some reason, because that's probably the main thing we're going to talk about today is the reason. I mean, there's like a bunch of reasons, I guess, like everyone has like small little reasons they don't want to do things or whatever, but overall, there's probably one big reason that most of these things happen. I don't know why it's so hard for me to talk about. For some reason, like I just feel ashamed and like embarrassed when I have to say it out loud to people. It makes me feel like a child, which honestly is accurate considering the diagnosis. I was diagnosed, about a year ago, I would say now. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And I know that sounds fucking like scary and intense, and it is. But I just kind of want to like fill you guys in on what I experience having this disorder and also trying to be a content creator. As you guys can tell, it's hard, and sometimes I'm not consistent. And I'm sure some of you know, some of you understand. There's probably some people who don't know and don't understand. They're like, wow, she's just canceling another stream, but sometimes it's a lot. And I'm not here to like demonize it or romanticize it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just strictly talking about my own experience and what I personally have gone through and go through living with BPD on a daily basis. Like when I was first diagnosed, like as you can imagine, I was like half relieved and half just like, what the actual fuck? Because at the time, like when you're just told the diagnosis, like I didn't know what that was. I just assumed that was gonna mean like, holy shit, I have like 7 different personalities and every so often it's gonna switch and the other one's gonna come out. No. Although I will say sometimes it can feel like it's hard to figure out like, what am I? Who am I? What am I trying to do? Like, what's my purpose in life, you know? But I don't think that's a whole lot different than probably what a lot of people experience and trying to figure out like, what are you gonna do with your life? I don't want anyone to watch this and feel like they're not valid in whatever they're experiencing themselves. I don't want anyone to watch this and think that you should diagnose yourself or like one of your loved ones. Go to a professional. I am not a professional. Fully disclosing that. I, again, just speaking from my own experiences. So this is a little bit different than what I usually do on my channel, but I'm trying really hard to go with my gut, go with the ideas that I've had. So we'll see how it goes. So of course, when I first found out about my diagnosis, like I didn't know much about it. It did freak me out, but I was also pretty relieved. You're probably gonna say, wow, you're fucking dramatic like 70 times in this fucking video. So we're just gonna preface that. It does sound very dramatic. It is very dramatic, but it's also a reality. I think it needs to be talked about more. When I got diagnosed, of course, my first thing was to look it up. I stayed away from TikTok though. Do not. Let me tell you guys, the amount of information out on YouTube about BPD is like slim to none. I looked it up and all I could find was like 1 year ago, 2 year ago, 3 year ago videos. I'm sure a lot of, if not all that information in that video is still the same and valid, but it was like a lecture video. It just seemed like it was a little too much to try to have to watch those, because to me, it wasn't like I was interested in learning everything about it. I just wanted to understand like, what the fuck is this? And what do I do to fix it? Sadly, there is no fixing it. You can't. It's not like it's my identity, but at the same time, like, it's such a huge part of, like, why I am who I am, why I do the things I do, why I think the things I think, why I experience things the way that I experience them. There's definitely a lot that comes to light where it's like, oh, that's why I acted that way. That's why I responded to them in that tone. That's why that hurt my feelings so bad. You know, like, that's why I fucking cried about it. This makes sense. I understand. I'm just emotional. I'm sensitive. I experience things to like an extreme level. My personality disorder feels really draining. I'm the kind of tired that like sleep doesn't fix. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, we've talked about like some of the main things I've struggled with. So like, just not feeling good enough, feeling jealous or like insecure when there's no reason to. I'm sure everyone kind of experiences these things like to an extent, but sadly this is like to an extent that is affecting my day-to-day life in a negative way. So yeah, let's talk about it. I feel like sometimes I have a tendency to just say like, well, that's my BPD. And I try really hard not to do that and try to be more aware of that now, because just because I have a mental health diagnosis or just because I'm struggling with like internal stuff that's going on does not give me the right to blame it on that and just casually continue on my way. You can't just be walking around saying like stupid shit to people and expecting them to just not care, not do anything, and then just like blaming it on our mental health. I'm like so nervous. Like, I am less nervous when I'm streaming on Twitch live to you guys. Also, I haven't decided if I'm editing this myself or if I'm having somebody edit it, but if somebody's editing this, I'm so sorry. I'm so weird. All right, so like borderline personality disorder, what the fuck is it? Like, what are we talking about here, you know? Let's get back to the basics. Let's kind of bring it back to the start. It does come with 9 different criteria. I did take notes on my phone because I want to be accurate when I'm telling you guys these things. These criteria when you're meeting this diagnosis is something that's going to be like persistent and constant in your life, but also having a great enough impact to be negatively affecting your life in some way, shape, or form. So there's a huge fear of abandonment, probably a history of unstable and intense relationships. This can be friendships or romantic partners, feeling like you have an unstable image, impulsivity in like self-damaging or self-harming ways, frequent sewer sliding thoughts. That one is obviously something that we want to make sure that we're being very careful about, especially with BPD, because BPD does have one of the highest suicide risks when it comes to mental health diagnoses. It is up there. There is a misconception that those with BPD tend to be dramatic or intense, so at times they might not be taken seriously when it comes to self-harm or sewer sliding. So it's just something to keep in mind. The next one that most would struggle with or do struggle with when it comes to BPD is emotional instability and just struggling to self-regulate emotions. And that can be good or bad emotion. It's not necessarily always a negative emotion that this is describing. So chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate or intense anger. This is like a huge one. You guys always hear me say on stream, like, I have a fucking anger problem. And stress when it comes to stress-related paranoia or disassociation in general. So a tendency to just disassociate from what's going on and just kind of be there, you know? Just kind of exist in the world. So I just kind of wanted to go through and talk about like how these impact me when it comes to streaming. And just like growth as a creator, because they absolutely do, as you can probably imagine. The fear of abandonment is huge, like feeling like I'm constantly not good enough and like something or someone else is going to like take something or somebody that I love away from me or just abandon me specifically. It's probably like one of the worst ones, honestly. It's one of the worst ones. Because somebody could like be sitting in front of me telling me that they love me and I completely understand. And then the second that that person leaves and I'm just sitting here by myself, like tangibly not seeing that person and having them physically by me makes me feel like, oh, like they don't even like me. Like they probably hate me. They don't even want me around. Like it's almost like it just like your brain just like completely flips sometimes. And that shit is so fucking annoying. It's annoying for me, like, inside my head, dude. I cannot imagine what it's like being on the, like, reverse end. Like, my partner, bless his soul, he's amazing, but he's definitely also learning, like, in the process of me learning. So it's an experience and it's a journey, and it's not gonna always just be like black and white. These things are gonna take time. These things are like learned patterns of behavior. Things like that take a really long time to like stop, and not only stop, but just like retrain for like a different habit, like something better or something healthier. Unstable relationships are another thing that are a big struggle. What we just talked about in number 1 kind of goes with number 2. They kind of go like side by side. The reason that it's hard to maintain relationships and keep loved ones close is because of how intense we are sometimes with like our feelings, whether they're positive or negative. And that can be like extremely overwhelming for a lot of people. Overwhelming for me, myself, a lot of times, so I can't imagine what it's like for other people. That's definitely something that I'm working on, and I think that's probably one of the things that's going to take me longer. I feel like I've been working on it for like quite some time and it's gotten much better, but there's obviously times when like you go back to that old you if you're extremely triggered or you're just having a bad day, you know, sometimes it comes up and you go back to that old you, and you just gotta grow. You gotta like learn from it. Take that and learn from it. Do better the next day. Just try to be better than you were yesterday, you know? And something that I just want to also mention before we move on to the next one is emotions are real. Those emotions that I display in those moments are real and they're genuine. They're not made to ask for attention or make someone feel like they need to like give me more attention. It's just genuinely how it feels. It's dramatic, but it's not meant to be. If that makes sense. Another thing that I struggle with would be identity disturbance and just feeling like unsure about myself a lot of times. I'd say one big way that this comes across for me is like generally probably the way that I'm dressing be the most like obvious way that I've seen it. There's been times where I've worn things where I'll look back and be like, why did I wear that? But at the time I was just like loving it. I was feeling, you know, feeling good in it, or I reacted to something a certain way, and now I look back and I'm like, what the fuck, like I could do better than that. So number 4, impulsivity, and that is huge for me. I'd say there's been times within the last couple years where I've noticed myself do or say something that feels right in the moment, but then like looking back I wish I didn't. And I'm sure a lot of people have that, but I'm talking like life-altering shit, you know? Not like completely life-altering, like my hair. I like change my hair a lot, which is why I have so many wigs, tattoos, hair changing, clothes changing, style changing, games that I play, ways that I talk, just a lot of like who I am on a day-to-day basis can be influenced by my impulsivity. She got me suicidal when she said it's over. Anybody heard that song before? So next is suicidal thoughts. I know I'm being kind of lighthearted with this and there's a reason for that. I really don't want to trigger anybody in this video. I want to keep this light as light as I can, considering the topics that we're talking about are pretty intense. Something I want to mention is that this is definitely one of the disorders where suicidal rates are high. With any disorder, you never want to disregard somebody who's saying that they're feeling that way. That's just something I wanted to kind of touch on in this, and it's just something that is one of the criteria, so I did want to add it. I did want to talk about it, but just not a whole lot. Now the next one's super fun. I'm joking. Emotional instability. It's a big one and it's a rough one. I must say it's probably one of the most exhausting ones. The only time I'm not managing my emotions is when I'm sleeping. It's a very like draining thing. Quite honestly, a lot of times I just feel like a fucking child. Like a fucking child who can't regulate their emotions. Literally. And it sounds so pathetic, and it is pathetic, and it feels pathetic, and it feels childish, but sadly that's the truth. Something that I wanted to add when it comes to the emotional regulation part is those emotions are literally felt for me like in my body. I will feel knots in my stomach starting to form. I will feel the anxiety where it like makes your stomach hurt. I will feel my heart racing. I will feel my chest getting tighter. I will feel getting a little bit sweaty. You know, like I can feel those things. Regulation comes in, obviously, where most people are adults and they like figure life out, you know. I struggle with that a lot. It's a big thing, so it's hard. It's hard. Next thing would be the chronic feelings of emptiness and just impending doom would probably be the best way to put it. It's a loneliness where you could be in a room full of people and you still feel like you are the only person in that room. And not only are you the only person in that room, but the room was supposed to be locked and you weren't supposed to go in there, but you did. And now you locked yourself in and the rest of the people are staring at you from the door like, what the fuck, why'd you go in there? What are you doing? You know? That's probably like a good explanation. I talked a little bit about anger. It kind of just goes with the unregulated emotions aspect. It can be explosive and it can be hard to regulate because once you're already there, like you're there. And it's usually because of hurt. Like you're angry because you're hurt by something. There's some other emotion behind the anger. Number 9 is stress-related paranoia or disassociation. Just kind of going blank in a way. Pretending like I'm not there. Sounds terrible, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's just like necessary to protect myself and also to protect the person that may be with me at that moment because they don't deserve to have me like flip out. And they are like very short, you know. It doesn't last long. Typically it's just kind of something that your body is used to doing to self-regulate because to avoid feeling or thinking about something that deeply, I just don't. I just kind of like shut it off. And again, I just want to be honest that like, obviously these are my own experiences, my own symptoms. Everybody experiences this differently and everyone has their own way of coping with these things. BPD is highly treatable, but it's not something that is, you take this medicine and you're better. It involves a multidisciplinary approach. You gotta be on medications probably. You are gonna be with a psychiatrist, you're gonna be with a therapist. You might even be in like some sort of support group or DBT group. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to help cope with the symptoms of BPD. And you can get to a point where you are in remission. It's something that takes a lot of effort, a lot of work, self-work, and time. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to me talk, blabber, all the things. I so much appreciate your willingness to learn from me and my shared experience. That means a lot to me, so thank you so much. I need to go get some stuff done and then I'll be setting up for stream later. I was going to use today to start setting up some of my new things that I'm going to be adding to my stream, but I figured I should just throw this together and get this done first because this has been on my mind for months. So I just wanted to add a couple more things because I thought about them after filming. Shocker! Borderline personality disorder is something that I've struggled with my entire life, but I didn't know what it was until this year. And now that I know, I better understand kind of how to manage it and what I should do. But I just strongly encourage anybody out there who's struggling to reach out for support and figure out what it is that's going on and figure out what it is you need to do to help the situation or prevent it or make it better, you know? So it's just something that I want you guys to remember. You're important. Take care of yourselves. I know when it comes to streaming and content creation, it can be a lot sometimes. So it's important to take care of yourselves because I know a lot of you guys out there that follow me are content creators yourself. So just remember to take care of yourselves too. Cookie also says, take care of yourselves, right? Take care of yourselves. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, whatever time of life it is for you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Sorry if I rambled. If I didn't talk enough, just had some dumb shit of being stupid, you know? Well, it's a little smoky in here. I'm stuck. Apparently, is my favorite fucking like filler word because I keep hearing myself say it and I'm like, stop fucking saying that. And I keep fucking saying my fucking nose is gonna be very nicely covered with this foundation. Let's go. Anyways,